Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
So before we get into the episode, so nothing gets spoiled for you, make sure that you've read up to and including Chapter 23 of Empire of Storms and Chapter 17 of Tower of Dawn.
There were some really long chapters in this section.
There was.
Holy shit.
But at least it was like active chapters. Like there was a fair bit happening.
Yes. It wasn't as bad as the monotonous shit from like the beginning of Tower of Dawn. Thankfully.
Speaking of Tower of Dawn, we left off the last episode. Irene is reattempting to do some healing on Kale's back, and the black void of pain is just trying to suck the life out of them both. And the chapter ends with Sartak taking Nesrin on a magical ruck ride through the land.
Oh, I can show you the world.
That's where my head went.
Yeah. I'm not mad.
No, they were discussing the murder in the Torre, and it's not exactly all sunshine and rainbows, but it does end with them just plummeting and her having that like free-falling moment of just pure bliss.
Like Harry Potter on Buckbeak. That is what I felt she was witnessing or feeling.
It's really not fair that we're human and these creatures don't exist.
Nope. Mm-hmm. I want a refund.
Yep. So on to today's chapters. We're on to Empire of Storms, Chapter 17. So we open up with Manon, and she is steeling herself for the unthinkable, carrying out Astron's execution. She spends the night sharpening Windcleaver, rehearsing the ancient words of request so she can at least give her second a swift death instead of torture. By dawn, the 13 march out to the veranda where the execution is set. The matrons, the covens, the bloodthirsty crowd, it's all theater, and Astron is center stage. Astron's beaten, bloodied, but still defiant, cocky even in chains. Manon invokes the right of execution, claiming the honor of ending her second's life. It's the only thing she can give, and for a moment it feels inevitable. Astron kneeling, Windcleaver raised, the sunrise painting the sky. But then the 13 defy everything. One by one, they raise 2 fingers to their brows, not in salute to the High Witch, but to a witch queen. Forgiveness, loyalty, and something greater than obedience passes between them. Astron even manages to whisper her last wish. Bring our people home.
Oh, and before that, when she said, bring her body to the cabin. Oh, I wish I could have, like, called you or, like, videoed my reaction to this entire chapter. Because, like, Astron is my favorite out of all of the witches, and this whole chapter had me fucking stressed and just a mess. Anyways, carry on.
Understandable.
Uh-huh.
But instead of striking Astron, Manon does the unthinkable. She turns, Windcleaver flashing, and brings the blade down on Grandmother Blackbeak.
Ooh, she's getting what she deserves. The whole chapter was just so difficult reading it and thinking that this is actually going to happen. But then, like, that big twist at the end was so relieving.
Yeah.
Ugh. But with chapter 18, we jump right back into it. Thankfully, we were not left on a cliffhanger with this. But again, more chaos, more heartbreak for Manon. After striking at her grandmother, the two face off in a brutal fight. There's no blades, just all iron, nails, teeth, and rage. Manon buys time for the 13 to escape, but her grandmother is relentless. Slashing deep into her stomach, every blow pushes Manon closer to the balcony's edge, blood pouring as Abraxas roars from above. Then comes the devastating revelation. Manon isn't just Blackbeak. She's actually Kraken. Turns out her mother's lover was a Kraken prince who was murdered by Matron. Manon's half-sister, Rhiannon? Is that how you pronounce her name?
I was saying Rhiannon, but Rhiannon is probably right.
Rhiannon. Okay. Had been searching for her. That's the witch. That's the Kraken witch that she had. She killed.
Yeah.
Right? Ugh.
Unalived.
Oh my god. Like, what? How? Oh my god. My brain's just short-circuiting. So like all those years that she's been killing Krakens, she's actually been hunting her own kin.
Yeah.
The last of their royal bloodline, her grandmother sneers and calls her the Kraken Queen. So she's broken, bleeding, stripped of her titles. Manon throws herself from the balcony rather than letting her grandmother claim her. Abraxas catches her mid-fall, with her shadows, Ida and Briar flanking in to pull her away. And then 6 yellow legs give chase. So we're getting another big epic... What?
It has nothing to do with the actual scene itself, per se, but... do they all go by, like, their last name being, like, their clan? Like, all the... like, they'd all be, like, Blackbeaks or Yellow Legs?
I think so. I think that's how it went.
So, like, Baba Yellowlegs, Manon Blackbeak, like, those names sound just witchy and fed. Can you imagine Manon Kraken? Kraken is just a horrible last name.
Yeah. It sounds like it doesn't have that same hit as, like you said, those other last names. It sounds like a last name that would be like either like villainish or just like almost scummy.
Yeah, like,
I don't know if I want to say scummy,
like
but
a race as opposed to like a last name. Like,
I'm picturing like insects.
Yeah, like the Kraken people, or like Kraken, like not the Blackbeaks people,
yeah,
or the yellow, like that just sorry. Anyways, I'm getting very off topic. Carry on.
It's okay. So what follows is a desperate cinematic flight through the mountains. Abraxas weaving into ravines, dodging stone pillars, while Manon, half blind with blood loss, orders the shadows to scatter and take down their pursuers. She faces the last 2 herself, luring them into a dead-end canyon, and Abraxas rockets upward on the updraft at the last second, while the pursuing wyvern slams into the rock and is destroyed. As far as we know. Again, I don't believe anything in any fantasy universe is ever dead unless we actually fully see it happen. And even then, it's questionable. So it's a victory, but with blood, barely clinging to consciousness. Manon whispers for the cover of Oakwald Forest, but the darkness swallows her before they reach safety. Dun, dun, dun. Is that the last we see of Manon in this section?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we get anything after this. Oh.
It's very Skulls Bay focused.
Yeah. Yeah. And
either like the Territorius
Irene
Esme
and
or
Kale.
Skulls Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. I just miss Manon.
Yeah.
We don't get enough of her. It's such a big chapter.
So Tower of Dawn, chapter 13. It's a doozy. One of the slower
That's one way to
chapters
put
of the
it.
Tower of Dawn for this episode. But, alas, here we are. Every bit's important. That's what I keep telling myself.
Funny enough, when I'm listening to the Kindle assistive reading, and I've said before how it like butchers name pronunciations, is not Irene when it's reading this book to me.
Urine.
Do you know? Urine. Urine. So, talk about getting pulled out of a story every time her name is said in this book. Yep. And if you don't believe me, just go into your Kindle app and try it. It's awful. Urine and kale.
They absolutely go through the ringer in the stretch. She spends hours, 5 whole hours, hammering her magic against that wall of darkness in his spine, and it just laughs at her. She pushes until she's shaking, sobbing for breath, and it still won't give. At one point, she even sees visions through it. Morath, the fortress, the endless armies waiting there, and it chills her straight to the bone. And poor Kale, he is not just dealing with the physical pain. Every shove of her magic drags up memories he'd rather forget. Collars, death, the people he lost. He screams through it and still doesn't once ask her to stop. It's brutal, and it leaves both of them wrecked. There's a surprisingly tender moment, though, when she's too drained to even lift a teacup. Kale, sweaty, aching, barely clothed. Pause for reaction. He just quietly takes it and holds it to her lips, making her drink. And when she resists, he pulls out the captain's voice, all sharp command. Drink.
Drink.
And I bet you loved that.
Of course I did. We're finally starting to see, like, the bits of Kale that I loved from the first couple books.
Yeah, it's not about dominance. It's just about him caring in the only way that he knows how, by taking responsibility for somebody else. Meanwhile, back on our magic rook ride. Or just after, Nesrin heads out into the Antica night, blade strapped on, determined to sniff out whoever attacked Urine. I didn't even try to say that wrong. It just came out. Irene.
That's why I keep asking you how to pronounce her name, because I have it ingrained in my head now. Urine.
And who slips out of the shadows to join her? Sartak, of course, because this man clearly knows how to make an entrance. Together, they circle the Torre, swapping war stories, grief stories, family stories. Nesrin even admits her mother's death and how long it took her to feel joy again. Sartak listens, really listens, and then vows to put his spies to work looking for her family. Swoon. But he's not just being charming, he's rattled. He's heard whispers of horrors like this before. Old Rook Riders' tales about the Valg. And now, with Irene under attack and books stolen from the Torre, he's ready to dig deeper. He and Nesrin make a pact, right there in the Moonlight Alley, to hunt this thing together, even if it means crawling through the city sewers to do it. Why is there so many sewers in these books?
I don't know. It's like typical villain, what is the word I'm looking for? Haunts. There we go.
Yeah.
Usually where the villains end up.
So you've got Urine and Cole surviving the first hours of agony. And then you got Jasmine and Aladdin moving from tentative allies into real partners in this fight. Exhaustion and vulnerability. It's a quieter section, but it feels like the good work for something big. And if you're just tuning in and you haven't heard anything previously, I call a lot of things by different names. It's just... You'll catch on if you've read the books.
Oh, then we get into chapter 14. Irene is so wrung out from the vigil and that 5-hour healing gauntlet that she literally falls asleep with a fork on her chest and dinner on her dress. She wakes at sunrise, late of course, and sprints down the Torre like a guilty comet, still in yesterday's blue gown with a very on-brand sauce stain. When she hits the palace courtyard, Kale's already started without her. He's refused the ramp she ordered, because of course he has, and with a guard's shoulder and a whole lot of grit, he hauls himself into the saddle. There's a custom brace built into it to stabilize his legs, and once he's up, he's steady, proud, every inch the rider he used to be. Then he drops the real twist. If he's riding, she's riding. So Irene, flustered and breathless, lets Shen, the guard, boost her onto a white mare, skirts hiked, dignity dangling, and Kale pointedly death stares every passerby who dares ogle her. Protective mode is engaged. That was a tongue twister. Their ride through Annika is a mix of instruction and slow thaw. He coaches her through the steeper streets. She explains how the Coggan's laws hold everyone accountable, princes and servants alike, and he's honestly struck by it. They skirt the sore spots, Dorian, Rifthold, those months neither of them want to unpack, trade a few barbed jokes, and somewhere between the sunlight, the herbs on the breeze, and the easy back and forth, something in Kale loosens. Then they reach the Torre's inner courtyard, and it's gorgeous. Lemons, lavender, twin owl fountains singing, waiting there, rows of girls and women, all colors and ages, plus Hafiza, the healer on high, who beams at Irene and introduces herself to the handsome lord with a warmth that could melt stone. Irene turns the moment into a lesson. She explains the brace, why riding can restore independence to patients like Kale, and then asks for volunteers to help him dismount.
Oh my god.
And I don't think you would have ever seen so many girls volunteer to help somebody. Like, it was...
No, the shocking part for me was how a man is going to act like such a baby from a bunch of girls fawning over him.
I think it's more so the fact that, like, there was no discussion on how he was going to be used as a healing, I don't know, what is the word I'm looking for? Lesson? Like, he thought he was just going there to help teach them, like, self-defense, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, Irene is calling out all of these, like, medical things and, like, teaching the girls. Like, I can see why he was upset about it.
But, like, I look at this, like, the Torre is, like, what Grey's Anatomy is. It's a teaching school or hospital is not the right word, but it's a teaching place.
Environment?
Yeah, like, everyone goes there to learn. The people that are higher up are still learning. You should, like, when you go into Grey's Anatomy Hospital, you know that there's going to be interns and whatever else looking, learning, helping. It should be the same thing.
But I think, and I know, like, it doesn't show it in every episode of Grey's, but, like, they have had that talk with patients that, you know, about learning and, like, teaching, like, this is a teaching whatever. But she never had that conversation with Kale at all, that this was going to be a learning experience for them medically, like, calling out all of his I don't know. I mean, we all know that he's super proud. So, like, I can't find the words. So obviously it goes badly. The acolytes really try, but he's heavy. They're nervous, and he begins to slide. There's this breath-held instant where he's about to crash, and Irene catches his shoulder, but it's humiliating. Worse than the bath, worse than being wheeled. And Hafiza steps in, gently, quietly helps him to his feet, and helps set his feet straight, and reminds him and us that this place is for learning, and that Irene had to travel the steps to learn what she's now passing on. It's a kindness that lands harder than any fall. I think maybe if it went well, like if he wasn't almost dropped on his face, he probably wouldn't have reacted quite so volatile about it. Maybe. I think it's more so embarrassment was kind of...
Yeah, I mean, like, they definitely described, like, his not resentment, but, like, his immediate, like, he got stiff and his lips were pressed into a thin line, like, as soon as the acolytes, or whatever they're called, got brought in to help at all. Like, as soon as they were brought over, like, he just immediately... mood change.
Yeah. I think I get it because, like, I also feel like I'm too proud to accept help like that. So, like, I feel like I probably would have reacted similarly. Like, I would have instantly, like, walls up. I would have been pissed, I think. So I think that's why, like, I can understand Kale's, because I think I probably would have reacted the same. Not that I would ever be in a similar position. But I don't know. I can commiserate with him on how embarrassment and pride can lead to anger and frustration, I think. Because I'm like that.
Yeah.
But so Irene pivots to her weekly defense class, eye gouges, pop, the whole brutal practical toolkit, and then hands the floor to Kale. What would he teach women and girls to survive an attack? For a breath, he drowns. The ghosts come roaring, his men, his city, the sword he hurled into the Avery, all the ways he thinks that he's failed. But he drags in a breath, lifts his chin, and starts anyway. Rule 1. Never let an attacker move you. Make where you stand your battleground. The girls nod. They've heard some of it from Irene, but Kale promises more. How to flip a man twice your size in 2 moves. The captain is still there, and for the first time this morning, you feel him re-enter the fight. And we're not moving away from this scene anytime soon.
No. We're right into chapter 15 of Tower Dawn. And the tensions snap and sizzle after the lesson at the Tory. Kale spends an hour drilling Irene's girls like a battlefield commander, correcting stances, making guards eat gravel, giving them the kind of precise, life-saving moves you only learn the hard way. The acolytes adore him. Hafiza beams, even the guards limp off grinning. But under all that, Irene can feel it. He's furious, not at them, at her. The ride back to the palace is icy cold. He keeps his jaw locked. She keeps guessing what she did wrong. By the time they hit the courtyard, he's brittle with embarrassment and anger. And when she hesitates about pushing his chair, he snaps a barb sharp enough to draw blood. It only gets messier in the halls. Prince Cassian intercepts Irene. Kind, careful, promising more guards for the Torre, and Kale rolls up just in time to witness the awkwardness and twist the knife with a dry, I almost feel bad for him. Inside the suite, Nesrin breezes through like a streak of sunlight. Hair wet, smile bright, lighting up at the news that Kale rode this morning. She's thrilled, already proposing a tour of the city and her uncle's home. Kale softens for her, promises a trot tomorrow, and watches her go with quiet, steady hope. It throws the private, raw thing between him and Irene into sharper relief. Then the fight happens, in his room, as he strips down to brace for another round of agony. Kale finally says it. He felt paraded, handled, displayed like a broken doll in front of the girls. I've never felt more bare, he admits, voice cracking on everything he lost, everything he can't get back. It's a gut punch, and Irene takes it. She apologizes, really apologizes, because she hadn't considered how it would feel from inside his skin. They stand on that knife edge of trust. He asks point blank if her grudge is against him or all of Ardalan. And Irene, instead of deflecting, tells the truth that scorched her life. Ardalan soldiers burned her mother alive when she was 11. Silence. Then she presses the bit into his mouth, sets her hand over the scar, and throws herself back into the darkness with him. No more armor between them, just pain, honesty, and the fragile decision to keep trying.
And we are still with Kale. Tower of Dawn, chapter 16. We get dropped straight into Kale's nightmare, a void of pain where the darkness spits his worst memories back at him. Aelin's dagger, Dorian's collar, the men hanging from the gates, the father he fled, the brother he left. It's relentless like barbed whips and black fire. And the awful thing is, part of him agrees with it. He's tried to be better, to hope, but the void feeds on his doubt. And then there's a flare of white, not gold, not blue, clean, steady light. And it's Irene. Instead of battering that unbreakable wall again, she hunts him through the dark by the sound of his screams, slips between the monster's teeth, and throws a shield around him. For a beat, the abyss recoils. When Kale wrenches back to the room, Irene's already hiding the cost. Blood everywhere, nose to chin, his crumpled shirt pressed to her face. She calls it common. He calls it what it is, a lie. Only when he orders her to lie down does she finally sag onto the pillows, iron-willed even through the dizziness. What she saw inside of him, chills them both. Morath's Black Fortress and the Sea of Campfires. Maybe a memory left behind in him, maybe a trick. Either way, she realized the wall was a decoy. The darkness is sentient enough to toy with her, but she can outthink it. Next time, it might be ready. Then the walls between them crack a little. He says he's sorry about her mother. She was everything good. He admits the thing he never says out loud, that he ran when Dorian faced the king because someone had to carry the rebellion forward, and he's never stopped wondering if it should have been him on that altar instead. She cries, he brushes a tear away. It's quiet, raw, and unexpectedly intimate. And in that quiet, the miracle. Irene's eyes go wide. She grabs his arm, stares down his legs. Kale follows her gaze to his toes. Slowly, shakily, they curl and uncurl like they're remembering how to be his. The first flicker of movement, the first real proof that her light can make a dent in that void. He can feel his toesies.
Or at least he can move them.
He can move them. Yeah, maybe he can't feel them.
Oh. Chapter 19 of Empire Storms.
I love this chapter. I just want to say.
Yep. Iliad and Lorcan spend 2 tense, quiet days skirting the eastern edge of Oakwald, each hoarding their questions. She lets him think she's just grateful he saved her. Never mind, she saved herself, and keeps her mother's name as a shield. When the trees finally break, the Acanthus River explodes into view, gray, wild, unswimmable, and beyond it, endless green plains under a clean blue sky. It feels like a doorway to a larger life, if they can get across. Lorcan points them upriver to the bridge, and that's where Iliad's con begins. She makes him stash the arsenal, tie back his hair, unbutton the jacket. Less immortal warlord, more tolerably human. She reknots her hair like a married woman, sheds the leather that hid her curves, and asks for one more thing. Make my limp less noticeable. He doesn't argue. A cool, invisible brace slides along her leg, and her stride steadies. And it's a little important, but she does pop open the buttons on her chest a bit to make her tits look a little bit bigger. And there was a little bit of funny little commentary about that. But, at the bridge, Ardalan guards are searching every wagon. Instead of queuing and praying, Elide steers them into a raucous tavern, clocks a small strap-for-cash carnival led by a sharp-eyed woman named Molly, and, channeling Astron's easy charm, pitches herself and Lorcan as a ready-made act. He's a sword thrower, she's an oracle. And did we mention they're also married?
Oh, yeah.
And I love, like, the internal monologues, like, I have no complaints.
Yep.
When Molly hesitates, Elide drops the perfect breadcrumb. They used to travel with the infamous Carnival of Mirrors under Baba Yellowlegs. The name opens
drop.
the door. By the time Elide leaves a very visible silver tip, Molly has chased them down with a temporary stint.
She's so smart.
I love Elide so much.
Yeah. I also really like how she's, like, channeling the different witches in just, like, certain situations, like, changing what she says or, like, the way she thinks based on what would Manon do? What would Astron do? Oh, I love it.
So, this cues the performance of a lifetime. Elide declares Lorcan her husband because men respect a husband's claim more than a brother's warning. And he plays along, even wrapping an arm around her when the guards start leering at the lineup. In the wagon with Molly's people, the genial strongman Nick and the raven-haired chameleon who can disguise herself with a hat and a scowl, the road talk turns grim. Word is Rifthold has fallen to witches and winged terrors. No one knows the young king's fate. Aelin, they say, is either savior or doom. There's no middle. Elide answers softly, certain as steel. She will win. At the toll, soldiers paw through the carnival's goods and pockets, take what they want, and let them pass only after Molly hands over Elide and Lorcan's coin for expedited passage. Elide trembles afterward, not from fear, Lorcan realizes, but the contained fury at the way the world treats girls who look like her. And yet, the wagon rattles off the bridge, and the planes unfurl. That fury sits beside a fragile, dawning wonder. Lorcan, ever the centuries-old cynic, sees only the long war and the shallow graves waiting at its end. Elide sees open sky and a path to her queen.
Ooh. There's also a lot of mention at how beautiful the dark-haired woman is in this carnival. Lorcan is, like, basically drooling at the mouth. And he's pissed that he's, like, shackled to... Is that an insensitive word to use when I talk about a lead? But he's like, God damn it, I'm stuck as her husband. Oh, but we're back with Tower of Dawn, chapter 17. Nesrin slips out of the palace and into comfort. Her aunt and uncle's cool, jasmine-scented home in Antika's Rooney quarter. It's all carved wood screens, bougainvillea, and the kind of shaded courtyards that make the desert bearable. Plus, Aunt Zahidia, absolute conviction that no guest leaves unfed. I like her. There's teasing from Uncle Bram about her singing. Yes, our taciturn archer secretly has a voice that melts a room. But Nesrin didn't come just to be adored by her little cousins. She came to warn them. She breaks the news gently. A healer was murdered at the Torre. The killer hasn't been caught. The method smells like the horrors she hunted in Rifthold. She can't tell them everything, like the keys, gates, and the Valg, but she can say this may be tied to her arrival, and asks them to raise their guards. Her aunt and uncle take her hands, no blame, just love, and immediately decide More guards, escorts for the children, vigilance everywhere. Nesrin promises she can handle herself, but it still hits her. This is the kind of quiet, happy life Erewhon would obliterate. She has to win that army. Then the conversation shifts because family will always find the soft places. They stuff her with perfect salads and mint tea, rib her about not bringing a guest. And, oh, by the way, rumor says someone was seen rotting at dawn on Prince Sartak's rook. She's like, oh, I'll bring Kale next time. They're just like, no, that's not who we're talking about.
We don't want the crybaby. We want the tanned man.
Yeah. Aladdin. She tries to play it cool, but the smile in her aunt's eyes says she sees more than Nesrin says. And Zahida leaves her with a clean, steel-edged promise that doubles as a battle cry. The Rooks won't fear wyverns. Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to the good stuff in Empire Storms,
There's our boys.
Chapter 20. Rowan and Dorian blow into Skulls Bay on the edge of a storm, dead on their feet, and just wanting a roof and a quiet corner. And the difference in my voice from reading the last chapters to this one is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
I got so perked up. Just like, Rowan and Dorian? Okay.
You did the same thing with the Elite and Lorcan chapter 2.
We know where my loyalties lie.
Mm-hmm.
So, the place is exactly what you'd picture. Peeling paint, riot of colors, everyone battering down the hatches. Except there's this massive chain under the water across the mouth of the harbor. Shipbreaker, ready to snap up and lock ships into place. It's also the same Port Aelin once turned into confetti. So today's vibe? Maximum diplomacy. No theatrics, no exploding towers. The plan? Grab a room at the Ocean Rose, then ask nicely to see the one, the only, the Pirate Lord Rolf. On the sail-in, Rowan's been running on fumes, snatching catnaps, riding winds, teaching Dorian baby steps with ice magic so they don't accidentally sink their boat. But the second they step off the docks, something prickles the air, a power that feels old, feral, and hidden. Not Val, Dorian knows that rot on sight. This is curious. They follow the pool straight to a Cobalt Tavern with a name they can't ignore. The Sea Dragon, Rolf's own haunt. Inside, it's empty and gleaming, a trophy room of ship's stern tabletops. Storm Chaser, Lady Anne, Tiger Star, arranged like a warning, all of it orbiting a scarred, burned centerpiece. Thresher, Rolf's personal table. No Rolf, no obvious source of power, until a gray-eyed barmaid with sea dragon tattoos strolls out and, completely unimpressed, tells them the captain is expecting them upstairs. Because of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
They climb past stone-faced guards and knock once, and instead of some barnacled terror of the seas, they find a young man, barely into his 30s, lounging on a velvet chaise with storm clawing at the windows. The Pirate Lord of Skulls Bay, calm as a cat, waiting to see what these two bring to his door. And oh, Captain Rolf, the man you are.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for more of him. So, carrying on to chapter 21 of Empire Storms, Rowan and Dorian, they blow into Stormlash Skulls Bay, boned hard and trying to keep things civilized. No dramatic Aelin-style fireworks this time, just a plan to quietly get rooms, request an audience, and not wreck the place. So Rolf doesn't bother with theatrics. He makes them wait, then drops a thunderclap. Parrington, now openly Erewhon, has named Dorian a traitor, seized Rifthold, and declared Little Holland crown prince. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. So that lands like a punch. Rolf's not picking sides either. He's picking survival, of course. Very piratey of him. Then he peels off his gloves. Those infamous map tattoos are real and moving, tiny ships sliding over blue ink, except the eastern dead islands are grayed out. It's unreadable. Something there is warded and very, very wrong. Rolf's scouts never return. He talks about sea wyverns, sleek, ship-killing monsters bred for naval war, and how Morath took Skull's Bay for a stretch. Worse, Val came back wearing the faces of his crew, rings on their fingers, and the only way to free them was beheading and fire. Rowan fills in the rest. Val princes Erwin's true name and pitches a strategy. Hold the archipelago as a seafront while allies strike by land. Dorian adds that Chaos and Annika courting a southern fleet. Rolf is unconvinced. No one helped 10 years ago, so why would they help now? Before Rowan can press, Rolf signals, and that caged power that they felt earlier steps through the door. 2 golden-haired fey males. Rowan's snarl is instant. The dark-eyed one smirks and says, "I liked your hair longer." Rowan's reply? A dagger thunking into the wall an inch from his ear. What a way to end a chapter.
And not slowing down into Empire Storms, Chapter 22. 2 fey males step through the door. Fenris, all lethal beauty and wicked grin, and Gavriel, calm, tawny-eyed, built like a fortress. And Rowan's first hello is a dagger buried next to Fenris's head. Classic reunion energy. These 2 aren't strangers, they're Rowan's old cadre. Still blood-sworn to Maeve, and they brought news with teeth. Maeve's armada is sailing for Eelway. Da, da, da. So Maeve is finally getting brought back into the main story.
Mm-hmm. We can just stop it here. I mean,
it's a happy-ish ending.
Right? Yeah. We just rewrite the ending.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole last book. Doesn't need to happen. So, Rolf plays it cool, but you can feel the room tilt. Dorian holds his ground, trading sharp questions with the Pirate Lord and Rowan both. And it's clear nobody hears for small talk. They pick their way through politics and bad blood. Rolf's islands are scarred by sea wyverns and Valg. Maeve doesn't share power, and if Morath wins, Skull's Bay becomes a memory. Rolf blusters about staying out of the war, and Rowan calmly steamrolls him with the reality that there won't be a market or a pirate lord left to profit if Erwin takes it all. Rolf grudgingly agrees to hear Aelin when she arrives, which Rowan swears she won't. They decamp to the Ocean Rose, where Rowan is hanging on by exhaustion and pure will, but still running the room like a commander. Fenris needles, Gavriel mediates, and the past cracks open. Maeve trusts no one after Rowan left for Aelin, and after Lorcan deserted. Fenris twin, Connell, is essentially collateral back in Doranel. It's the chain Maeve keeps looped around his throat. And then the real bomb drops. Maeve didn't even send Fenris and Gavriel to parley. She sent them to hunt Lorcan. To kill him.
Dun, dun, dun. And our final chapter, chapter 23 of Empire of Storms. Rowan learns that Maeve sent not just Fenris and Gavriel, but also Vaughn to hunt Lorcan. Fenris explains they stopped in Skull's Bay to bribe Rolf for information and to warn him about Maeve's armada, but the real mission is the hunt. Rowan, wary of Maeve gaining the word keys through Lorcan, refuses to hand over his whereabouts so easily. He pushes back, proposing a bargain. If they fight for Aelin's cause, he'll eventually give them Lorcan. The tension between Rowan and Fenris is sharp, but Gavriel listens, torn between loyalty to Maeve and the truth Rowan lays out, that Aelin's flame alone can't win this war. Rowan plays his strongest card, revealing that Gavriel has a son. Not your truth to tell. Oh, so obviously Gavriel is stunned. It leaves him completely shaken, while Fenris scoffs in disbelief. Rowan warns them both to think carefully, to stay out of his way until they decide, and makes it clear, if they breathe a word of Gavriel's son to Maeve, their bargain is dead, and Rowan will stand with Lorcan against them. The scene closes with Rowan holding the line, deadly calm, already planning how to fight not one war, but two. I think we ended these chapters off on like it wasn't a crazy cliffhanger. It felt like we eased into it.
Yeah. Things are heating up though.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm so afraid how it's all gonna work out. I mean, I'm really glad that Manon and Astrid, like, that she obviously didn't kill Astrid, but that they're out. That they're heading toward Oakwall as far as we know. But man, Astrid wasn't in good shape. Oh, I just need more. I just need more of that story. Oh man, I'm curious what's going to happen with Gavriel and Adian. Like how that's all going to play out.
Well, Adian knows who his dad is by name, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
Mm-hmm. And now Gavriel knows that he has a son, but doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
But Rowan thinks that all it takes is for them to just see Adian. Like,
or smell him. Which, that kind of threw me because, like, Fae have such a high thing of smell, and, like, they say that they could smell Rowan off Selena for, like, after her not being around him for, like, weeks. But they can't smell Adian off Rowan and Dorian. Like, it hasn't been that long. I
don't like that plot hole. I don't like that. Why'd you tell me that? Keep that to yourself.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. Kind of. Yeah, that's weird. Unless well, how long has it been? I mean, they've been in a boat for a long time, too. Like, making their way there. I don't know. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, what do we have for next episode?
So, before our next episode, make sure that you've read up to chapter 24 of Tower of Dawn and 26 of Empire of Storms. So we have 2 episodes in a row that are going to be very heavy in Tower of Dawn. But in 4 episodes, it is all Empire of Storms, and I am so excited.
I'm afraid for that. Like, what the hell happens to make it so Empire of Storms heavy?
You're afraid for that? I'm afraid of the last episode for these 2 books.
Is that the one that's all
Tower of Dawn?
I'm afraid because of, like, I'm nervous. Not that, like, I don't,
Nervous at the action.
Yeah, like who is she gonna kill? That's basically what I'm worried about. Who is she gonna kill in this book? Sad. Anywho.
Well, until next time. Bye.
Toodles. And with that, our coven summoning comes to a close.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.
Join the magic, take the flight.